less than a decade, Epic Games exploded from creating small shareware games to conquering giants. But it was the licensing of their 3D tech, the Unreal Engine, that cemented their future.
It was always our plan to invest a lot of money in the tools to make them easy for people to use, to have great technology. Seeing the quality of the tools and all the work and time and effort that we had put into them, other companies approached us about actually using the engine.
A game engine is the building blocks of any game. It's a system designed for the creation and development of video games. The Unreal Engine is the system behind many of the biggest franchises in gaming, like Batman, BioShock, Borderlands, and Mass Effect.
We have this stream of hundreds of customers who license the Unreal Engine. It's the independence that comes from the engine business that keeps Epic alive and well in the long run.
Today, we're the leading AAA engine.
Epic's next AAA title launched one of the most successful series in gaming. But the game they almost made was a far different beast than the Gears of War that eventually invaded the Xbox.
The game was Unreal Warfare, and it was much more of a Battlefield competitor. It was really large environments with vehicles and that kind of stuff.
Ultimately, Battlefield 1942 came out, and so we kind of re-scoped the project. When people were seeing us like slapping the cover and shooting these guys, the reaction was overwhelming.
Who blows you, baby?
Now the Gears had cover, they needed an enemy to shoot. And Epic's first choice wasn't the Locust.
When I first came here, the Locusts were called the Geist because they were the ghosts from the underground. They were really pale and white. Of course, then Nintendo did the Geist game, and we couldn't use that term anymore. And actually, what it was is there was a unit called the Geist Locust. And we're like, this Locust word kind of works.
But Gears of War wasn't always a surefire hit.
Gears 1 was really a miracle project. It was filled with risk. It had a new team who hadn't done story in a long time. It had a new platform. We hadn't finished the engine yet.
And in a move that seems almost unthinkable now, Epic thought about cutting out Gears multiplayer from E3 2006, or it stole the show.
Multiplayer was very close to the axe for Gears. It was really hard to get that done. I mean, Gears 1 was a miracle-tight schedule.
On paper, Gears of War should have been a failure, but we put our hearts into it, we polished it up, and we made a great game.
When Gears of War finally emerged on November 7th, 2006, it was an immediate blockbuster. The popularity of Gears coupled with the power of the Unreal Engine made Epic a gaming behemoth with the financial muscle to expand and acquire new talent. With the purchase of People Can Fly and Chair Entertainment, Epic is ready for the next 20 years.
From the very beginning, Epic has been focused on building just great, really fun games, the kind of games that we really enjoy playing ourselves.
I think the secret to success for any of these games, and certainly with Epic, is just hiring people who are endlessly enthusiastic about the projects.
We hire people who love making games and we let them make games, and we try to make this a great place to work.
We want everybody to be uber fans of the games and Epic as a studio.
And after 20 years, we can't help but be Epic mega fans.
Nice work, Delta.
Epic Games has created some of the best-selling, technically proficient, and visually impressive games of the last decade. But 20 years ago, Tim Sweeney's company wasn't so, well, epic.
So back in 1991, I started writing a game up and I released it in November 1991 just as shareware. I was stunned to be getting several orders a day for the game. I saw the opportunity and the business grew from there.
At the time, the boardroom table was his mother and father's kitchen table, and it was Epic MegaGames. I met Tim Sweeney. He asked me if I'd come work for Epic. The first thing I did the first day on the job was call Cliff Bleszinski and try to get him to come and work with us.
I got involved with Epic way back in like 92 or 93. This was when we first had BBSs, we first had CompuServe, and we were working in a virtual office.
In the early 1990s, Epic was developing a bunch of really cool 2D games with small teams. We had Jazz Jackrabbit, Epic Pinball, and other things like that. But then id Software came out with Wolfenstein and then Doom, and we saw that, wow, 3D games are the future of the industry. And so Cliff Bleszinski, the Jazz Jackrabbit developer, James Schmaltz, the creator of Epic Pinball, and myself all got together and started the project that became Unreal.
Development began in 1996 on Epic MegaGames' first 3D game.
With Unreal, we wanted to create the best 3D game ever built. And from the moment we released our first screenshots onward, we were seen as the contender who was going to come up and try to dethrone id with beautiful graphics and a very different style of game.
We were building a game to compete with the best games out there, to look better than any game that had come before it. Unreal was our first large-scope game. I mean, we certainly were biting off more than we could chew.
There was a time period during the first Unreal when that project dragged on for like 3.5 years, and we were running out of money.
At one point, Epic was being funded largely by Mark Rein's credit card.
Luckily, we managed to pull the game together and ship it.
I'm very proud that we were able to achieve that. We decided, okay, we've really achieved this. We can call ourselves just Epic Games now.
Now, with a new name and a new office in Cary, North Carolina, Epic Games created their biggest hit yet, Unreal Tournament, which blasted onto PCs on November 30th, 1999.
That was a real turning point for the company because Unreal Tournament was even more successful than Unreal. And